Your example of the property in your area, not being uniform, etc., isn't that the exact argument for a state of Louisiana that's smaller than Florida cities, smaller than Texas cities, for a uniform state government, not exploding to all of these entities all over the state? And if we only got $75,000 deduction, isn't the real problem that the houses aren't worth a lot more than $75,000, rather than to shift the tax burden on the poorer people that live in more valued homes?
I mean, I would say that at the end of the day, the reason people in Texas make a third more than us is they think they have a successful system of government. And so the values of the property will go up if you have businesses that are moving here, if you have people that are staying here instead of moving away. I think that issue with the unclaimed property is exactly kind of this problem between the state and the city that nobody knows who owns it, because nobody's ever resolved it. The assessor's office has basically said, well, we don't know who owns it, we're not doing anything about it. And so it's just sat there for 100 years not paying any taxes, and nobody even knows who the owner is. And it's really only come to a head and become an issue because the tree is leaning over this guy's house, and he's like, I want to know who I got to call to cut it down.
So I'm paying property tax through my electric bill to West Feliciana, which is next to East Feliciana, and they're getting all of those taxes, industrial taxes. Why don't you fix that instead of worrying about an income tax that's regressive? You mentioned that the sales taxes would go down. I believe there are 50,000 cars per hour on the bridge right here. So if these people are going to stop from Florida and Texas, why should they pay less sales tax and put the burden on people that own property? Why differentiate? Why blow the state of Louisiana apart? The state of California has 10 million people more than Texas, and they've got institutions like Stanford, Berkeley, UCLA. But you want to use the example of Wyoming and Alaska, which have zero income taxes, and I don't see people moving there left and right. So I don't understand your theory at all.
Well, I mean, I think you can look at Texas. You don't have to go to Alaska. I mean, Alaska is a little bit of a different animal. I mean, Texas is relatively similar to us. I mean, they're really not, they're larger, but 30 or 40 years ago, they weren't significantly larger. And really, it's just the trajectory that they've been on has been one of growth, and ours has just been stagnant. I think that at the end of the day, you know, the idea that we can tax somebody else to pay for our stuff. I don't think you can tax everybody else in order to pay for things in Louisiana. I think that's the fallacy that we've had for 100 years, was that, you know, we can tax all the oil companies, or we can tax, you know, honestly, you can tax people that are driving through. And you can to some extent. I mean, tourists come here, they spend money, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're really not eliminating the burden from that. Because some tourist comes and stays in a hotel, guess what? That hotel owner pays property tax. So their tax is going to be passed through to them as well. So I mean, there's really no way to get around it. The question is just, what is a successful way? What is a successful model of attracting people to the state? And the fact that we're right next door to Texas means that we have to look at them for inspiration, because they're the ones we're competing against for basically the same thing. You know, Alaska is a different animal. You know, at the end of the day, people go there for different reasons. But I think you have to look at really what's working. I mean, it's not something I made up. This isn't my bright idea. It's basically looking at these other states that are next to us that have seen this explosive growth and saying, how can we duplicate it here?